In issue number 194 of the Neue Rheinische Zeitung, published on January 13, 1849, and edited by Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, one of the newspaper's principal contributors, published the article Der Magyarische Kampf, the Hungarian struggle, in the context of the conflict between the Hungarian revolutionaries and the Habsburg Empire. In the article he wrote, "The Romanians are a people without history, destined to perish in the storm of the world revolution. They are fanatical supporters of the counter-revolution and will remain so until their national character is extirpated or lost, just as their very existence constitutes a protest against a great historical revolution. Their disappearance from the face of the earth will be a step forward." What motivated Engels to make such a statement? The first reason is that Engels strongly supported the Hungarian Revolution. He regarded the revolution led by Lajos Kossuth as one of the most important revolutionary movements in Europe. However, the Romanians, Croats, Serbs, and Slovaks living within the Habsburg Empire did not support it because they feared that an independent Hungarian state would deny them their national rights. As a result, many of them cooperated with the Austrian imperial authorities against the Hungarian revolutionary government. The second reason lies in Engels' theory of historic and non-historic peoples. Engels believed that only certain nations, such as the Germans, French, Poles, and Hungarians, played an active historical role in shaping Europe. Smaller peoples of Central and Eastern Europe, whom he regarded as lacking a strong bourgeoisie and a consolidated nation-state, were classified as peoples without history. This classification was clearly arbitrary and lacked a solid historical foundation. The third reason is that Engels placed the success of the revolution above the right of peoples to national self-determination. He believed that the triumph of the European revolutionary movement was more important than the national aspirations of individual communities. From this perspective, groups perceived as supporting conservative empires, such as the Habsburg or Russian empires, were labeled counter-revolutionary peoples. Within this framework, the Romanians of Transylvania, whose primary goal was to secure national rights rather than support the Hungarian Revolution, were portrayed as enemies of progress. The fourth reason concerns the historical context of the period. During wartime, propaganda becomes as important a weapon as military force, and public discourse often relies on exaggeration and the demonization of the enemy. The articles published in the Neue Rheinische Zeitung were political texts written in a highly polemical and often extreme style. Engels frequently employed exaggerated language in his attacks on political opponents. Within this context of revolutionary rhetoric, Engels spoke of the extirpation or disappearance of certain peoples as if it were a natural and even beneficial process in history. Such a perspective reduces human beings to mere instruments of a political theory and justifies the elimination of entire communities in the name of a revolutionary ideal. The 20th century demonstrated, through the experience of totalitarian regimes, the catastrophic consequences of ideologies that sought to justify the mass elimination of human groups. The claim that the Romanians were a people without history is contradicted by their own historical development. The Romanian people maintained their continuity in the Carpathian Danubian Pontic region for centuries, despite invasions, the domination of neighboring empires, and political fragmentation. The formation of the medieval principalities, the development of a distinct culture, the preservation of the Romanian language, and the emergence of a national identity all demonstrate the existence of a complex and continuous historical tradition. Far from being a people without history, the Romanians succeeded in surviving and developing in a region that stood at the crossroads of Europe's great powers. The subsequent evolution of the Romanian nation decisively disproved Engels' prediction. Within only a few decades after the Revolution of 1848, the Romanians achieved the union of the principalities, won their independence, and in 1918 accomplished the Great Union, creating a modern national state. Rather than disappearing, as Engels had predicted, the Romanian nation consolidated its identity and statehood. What can be said about this passage by Friedrich Engels is that it should be understood within the context of the political passions and revolutionary fervor of 1848, but it cannot be accepted as an objective historical analysis. His statements reflect the ideological radicalism of the period more than the historical reality of the Romanian people. History itself demonstrated that the Romanians were not a people without history, but a nation that, despite numerous hardships, preserved its identity, culture, and statehood, thereby disproving one of Engels' most erroneous predictions.